Now the most of the fungi are heterotrophic. We have discussed this and absorb the soluble organic matter from the dead substrates. Then such a called as the saprophytes, right? We have discussed that from the dead organic matter, the fungi obtain their nutrition and then they are called as the saprophytes, right? Now after that, we have also discussed that they are depend on the living plants and animals, and then in such a condition they are called as parasites. Okay, and they also form the symbiotic association with the organism, in that we have largely studied the mycorrhizae, plus the lichen is also there. Okay, because lichens are the nothing but the for combination of algae and fungi. Okay, algae and fungi combination is called as the lichen, and whenever there is a combination of fungi plus roots of the higher plants, okay, then it is called as the mycorrhizae. Mycorrhizae, we have studied in detail this mycorrhizae thing. Now we are going to study the lichens. Okay, and lichens from the UPSC mains examination point of view, very important topic. Okay, so nutrition wise, the fungi can be saprophytic, they can be parasitic, or they may form the symbiotic associations. Okay, just like the lichens and the mycorrhizae we have discussed this. Now we are going to discuss the lichens. Okay, now see lichens. Now lichen represent the intimate mutualistic relationship. Okay, mutualistic relationship, that means both partners are getting benefit from the one another. Okay, see, between the fungus and the photosynthesizing algae or the cyanobacteria. So so the lichen is nothing but the combination of the fungi plus the algae, which is photosynthetic. Okay, in these two partners, the algae is the photosynthetic partner. Okay, that means it can perform the photosynthesis and it can create their own food, while on the other hand the fungi is the non photosynthetic organism, it cannot prepare their own food. Okay, so the lichens is the combination of the algae and fungi. The algal component is called as the phycobiont. Okay, whatever the algal component present in the lichens is called as the phycobiont, and it mostly belongs to the chlorophyceae or the cyanobacteria. Okay, the phycobiont member, that is the algae. Algae is majority of the time belongs to the chlorophyceae or the cyanobacteria. Okay, while the fungal component is called as the mycobiont. Okay, so whenever you talk about the lichen can be of are made up of the algae and fungi, and the algal partner is called as the phycobiont, or the fungal partner is called as the mycobiont. Okay, जो लाइकेन होते हैं, लाइकेन दो पार्टनर से बना है. द फर्स्ट पार्टनर इज कॉल्ड एज द फंगाई एंड द सेकंड पार्टनर इज कॉल्ड एज द अलगी. नाउ द अलगल पार्टनर को बोला जाता है फाइकोबायंट. ओके, फाइको लिटरली मींस अलगी. ओके, एंड द फंगल पार्टनर इसको बोला जाता है माइकोबायंट, एंड माइको लिटरली स्टैंड्स फॉर द फंगाई. ओके, एंड मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द टाइम जो फाइकोबायंट्स होते हैं वो क्लोरोफाइसी या फिर साइनोबैक्टीरिया के मेंबर्स होते हैं. ऑलराइट, नाउ सी द इन लाइकेंस द अलगी प्रिपेयर्स द फूड via photosynthesis, which is partly used by the fungi for its growth and development. Okay, just we have discussed that the algae in the lichen is a photosynthetic partner, and this photosynthetic partner can prepare the food, and this food is partly used by the fungi for their growth and development. So fungi don't have to worry about the food, because food is created by the algae, and this food which is created by the algae is directly utilized by the fungi for their growth and development, and in return the fungi provides the protection to the algae. Okay, because algae, as you know, they cannot live without the water. Okay, they always require water for their growth and development, and this algae when requires water, they cannot grow in a dry conditions. Okay, but we have discussed that the fungi, okay, fungi has the ability to protect itself from the desiccation. That is, it can hold the water which is stored in their cells for many days due to the presence of a thick cell wall which is made up of the chitin. Okay, so fungal provides the protection to the algae, also provide moisture to the algae. Okay, because these fungal cells can hold the water for many days. Okay, because of the presence of the rigid cell wall, plus the environmental nutrients to the algae. Okay, so what fungus is providing to the algae? The fungus is providing protection, moisture, and the environmental nutrients to the algae, and algae is providing food to the fungi. So on the one hand, the fungi is getting food from the algae, and from fungi the algae is getting the protection, moisture, and the environmental nutrient, and that is why both these are mutually beneficial to the one another. एक दूसरे के लिए बिल्कुल mutually beneficial होते हैं एक दूसरे के लिए. Okay, so in the lichen there is one partner called as algae and another partner is called as the fungi. Algae is a photosynthetic organism and it can prepare food and can provide this food to the fungi, and fungi can provide protection, moisture, and environmental nutrients to the algae. Okay, so this is how this mutualistic beneficial relationship works, because both the partners are benefiting one another and they are living together. Okay, by observing this particular lichen, you cannot say that it is made up of the algae and fungi thing, because externally you cannot judge the algal and fungal partner, but internally the algal and fungal cells are merged with each other, and algae provides the important food material to the fungi, and fungi in return provides the protection, moisture and environmental nutrients to the algae, and hence this relationship is quite mutually beneficial to the one another. Okay, now see the habitat of the lichens. Okay, where they grow, see the tree trunk, decaying logs, and on the soil as well. Okay, they can grow on the tree trunk, they can grow on the decaying logs. Okay, whatever is decaying occurring on the soil, they can grow on these decaying logs as well. They can grow on the soil, they can grow on the dry and exposed rocks, as you can see in this particular picture. This is a dry and exposed rock, and on this rock the lichen is growing, and in a snow covered Arctic or Antarctic poles as well. Okay, so now you can observe that how the lichen is able to occupy the very different kinds of the habitat, because the algae and fungal partner are working together to survive, and that is why they got this ability to survive in any condition. Now on the one hand, the lichen can in the lichen, what we have, the algae, which is cannot grow outside the water. Okay, algae simply cannot live without water, but the fungi can live without water, but without food material it cannot survive. Okay, but this fungi is able to grow on the Arctic and Antarctic poles just because of the algae, because it can prepare their own food, and these algae can came out of the water just because of the fungi, because fungi has the ability to hold the water for the many days. So by combining the algae and fungi, when they create the lichen can occupy the various habitat which algae and fungi cannot occupy alone. Okay, so there is a larger advantage of having the life interconnector all together, that the algae and fungi together form the lichen, and they can occupy the dry and exposed rocks, they can occupy the snow covered Antarctic and Arctic poles as well, they can live on the trunks, and they can live on the decaying logs. Okay, so this is the habitat of the lichens. Now see, the lichen do not grow around the cities. Okay, you will never found the lichen around the cities. in अगर किसी भी सिटीज में आप रहते हो तो आपको कभी भी सिटीज में के अंदर या फिर सिटीज के अराउंड कभी भी आपको लाइकेन दिखाई नहीं देंगे, बिकॉज दे आर सेंसिटिव टू द सल्फर पोल्यूशन. Okay, if there is a sulfur pollution even in a very trace amount, even in a very small amount, they cannot tolerate this sulfur pollution, and that is why the lichen cannot grow around the cities, and hence they are considered as a pollution indicator species. Okay, the lichens they are popular for as a pollution indicator species, because whenever there is a pollution, the lichens cannot grow there. So if you do not found any lichen around the cities, you can easily conclude that the city has the sulfur pollution there. And if you find the lichen is growing somewhere, then you can clearly conclude that this particular area where the lichen is growing, there is a no sulfur pollution, because even if there is a very small amount of sulfur pollution is there, then in such a condition the lichen is not able to grow there. So that is why we do not find the lichen in the cities or around the cities, and that is why we can use the lichen as a pollution indicator species as well. Okay, consider depending upon the fungal component. Okay, the lichen, there can be three types of the lichen. Okay, कि lichen में फंगल कंपोनेंट कौन सा है, विच टाइप ऑफ फंगस इज देयर. ओके, कौन से टाइप का फंगस वहां पे है. देन there are three kinds of lichens. First is the ascolichen, second is the basidiolichen, and third is the deuterolichens. Now you can by simply observing the names, you can say that when we call the ascolichens, the fungal partner belongs to the ascomycetes, and if we call the basidiomycetes, then the fungal partner is belongs to the basidiomycetes, and when we say that the lichen is deuteromycetes, then the fungal partner belongs to the deuteromycetes. Okay, so if the fungal partner is coming from the ascomycetes, then it is called as ascolichen. If the fungus is coming from the basidiomycetes, then it's called as basidiolichen, and if the fungal partner is coming from the deuteromycetes, then it's called as deuterolichen. Depending upon the fungal partner of the lichen, the lichens are of three types: the ascolichens, basidiolichens, and the deuterolichens. Okay, it's the one kind of classification which is followed to classify the lichens. Okay, now see the second kind, depending upon the thallus organization, there are again three types of the lichens. Okay, कि thallus का structure किस प्रकार का है, कि thallus कैसा होता है lichen का. Depending upon that thallus, the lichens are of three types. First is the fructose lichen, second is the follicose lichen, and third is the fructicose lichen. See the fructose lichen, or say crustose lichen, some say crustose and some can say fructose. It depends on you. Okay, आप कौन सा भी pronunciation आप कर सकते हैं. So the fructose lichen, these are the crust like, okay, growing tight against the substrate. Okay, you can observe here, this is the hematoma, and hematoma lichen belongs to the Strustose lichen, and these are Strustose lichen growing on the crust. Okay, earth crust पे, ये rocks पे grow करते हैं, and they tightly bound to the substrate. Okay, substrate को वो tightly bound करते हैं, and such a type of thallus which is shown by the which is shown by the hematoma is comes under the Strustose lichen. And what is the typical characteristics of the Strustose lichen? That they are the crust like, they simply looks like a crust. Okay, and they grow very tight against the substrate. Okay, they are tightly attached to the substrate. The second type is the follicose lichen. In the follicose lichen, these are the leaf like. Okay, ये leaf like होते हैं. You can observe the example of Parmelia, and here you can observe the leaf like structure. Okay, in the Parmelia you can see these leaf like structures, and these leaf like structures lichen come under the follicose lichen. Okay, with flat sheets of the tissue not tightly bound. Okay, these lichens are not tightly bound to their substrates. Okay, so the second type of the lichen is called as the follicose lichen, and these follicose lichens are not tightly bound to their substrate, and they shows the leaf-like structures. While the third is the fruticose lichen, it forms the freestanding branching tubes. You can observe here is the example of Usnea. Usnea lichen, you can observe here is the free branching. Okay, free branching which is loosely attached to the substratum. Okay, whenever you see the free branching, it is called as the fruticose lichen. An example for the fruticose lichen is the Usnea. And the example for the foliose lichen is the Parmelia, because there is a leaf-like structure. And example for the Strustose lichen is the hematoma. Okay, so here we are discussing the lichen, which is nothing but the combination of algae and fungi. algae और fungi के एक combination होते हैं, और algae और fungi के combination होने के बाद ये जो lichens होते हैं, ये एक दूसरे को फायदा पहुंचाते हैं. That is why we are saying that these are the mutually beneficial to each other. Now ये एक दूसरे के साथ रहते हैं, इसलिए उनका habitat जो है वो बहुत wide है. ठीक है, वो आर्टिक पे भी आते हैं, अंटार्कटिक पे भी आते हैं, ड्राई रॉक्स पे भी आते हैं, ट्री ट्रंक पे भी आते हैं. ठीक है, एंड नाउ डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द फंगल पार्टनर वी हैव थ्री टाइप्स ऑफ द लाइकेंस: Ascolichens, Basidiolichens and Deuterolichens. Okay, and depending upon their thallus organization, there are again three kinds of the lichens: Strustose lichen, Foliose lichen and Fruticose lichen. Now let us consider the economic importance of the lichens. Okay, because it was asked by the UPSC mains examination once. Okay, now see, in the economic importance of the lichen, the first category is the lichens can be used as a food. Okay, so in the many parts of the world, the lichen is used as a food. See, in that we have the Lecanora esculenta and the Umbilicaria esculenta. Both these possess the lichinin compound. Okay, lichinin chemical compound is found in these lichens, is the carbohydrate like substance. Okay, as you know, carbohydrate is largely consumed by us through the many food materials, right? Now this carbohydrate like substance, which is called as lichinin, which is found in these lichens, is consumed directly as a food substance. Okay, in many parts of the world. Then the Parmelia is used as a curry powder and in making the chocolates. Okay, Parmelia को curry powder के तौर पे भी यूज किया जाता है, और उसको chocolate preparation में भी यूज किया जाता है. So lichens can be the part of food. The lichinin, which is a carbohydrate like food, which is found in some lichens, is used as is directly used as a source of the carbohydrates, and the Parmelia like lichen can be used to create the curry powder and the chocolates. Okay, now please remember this. Now second, the lichens can be used as a fodder. Okay, for the animals, the lichens can be used as a fodder, such as species of the Cladonia, then Satria, Evernia, Parmelia lichens are used as a fodder for the reindeers and the cattle. Okay, as you know, in some snow-covered areas, there is a population of the reindeers, and these reindeers are depends on the lichens for their fodder. Okay, so they use these lichens as a fodder. The species of Cladonia, Satria, Evernia, and the Parmelia are used as fooders by the reindeers and the cattle. Okay, now consider the next one is the medicinal use. Okay, the lichens also shows extraordinary medicinal uses as well. See, the usnic acid, which is extracted from the Usnea. Okay, Usnea is the lichen, and from this Usnea, the usnic acid is extracted, and the Cladonia is used as an antibiotic against the gram-positive bacteria. Okay, so whatever the diseases which are caused by the gram-positive bacteria, the usnic acid is used against this gram-positive bacteria. Okay, and this usnic acid can be extracted from the Usnea and the Cladonia. Okay, so the very important usnic acid is coming from the lichens, which can be used as an antibiotic against the gram-positive bacteria. Then Loberia and Satyria species are useful in the respiratory diseases, while the Peltagera is used in the hydrophobia. ओके, सो रेस्पिरेटरी डिसीजेस में लोबेरिया काम में आता है, लेटरेरिया काम में आता है, जो लाइकेन है इट इज यूजफुल इन द हाइड्रोफोबिया, वेल द परमेलिया इज यूजफुल इन द एपिलेप्सी। ओके, एपिलेप्सी आप जानते हो कि न्यूरॉन डिजनरेट होते हैं बॉडी में, और इसके लिए परमेलिया जो है ये यूजफुल है, while the Usnea species is used for the urinary diseases as well. So आप समझ सकते हो कि there are various medicinal uses of the lichens as well. In the form of usnic acid, it is used as a antibiotic against the gram-positive bacteria. Then many lichens are there which are used in the respiratory diseases, hydrophobia, epilepsy, and urinary diseases as well. Now consider the fourth one, that is the industrial use. Okay, so in the first we have seen the use as a food, then use as a fodder. Okay, then we have seen its use as a medicinal purpose, and in the fourth category we are using the lichen in the industries to produce the industrial products. Okay, now the lichens are used in the production of alcohol. Okay, that is for the production of alcohol, the many lichens used as a substrate, plus they are also used in the process of tanning and dyeing. Okay, but the dyeing process and the tanning process, the lichens are used for coloring the various type of cloths in the dyeing process as well as in the tanning process. Okay, then the Rossella and the Lazellia lichens are used in the preparation of litmus paper. Okay, very important. Rosella and the Lazellia, both these lichens are used to create the litmus paper, which are often used in the chemistry labs, right? आप जानते हो कि chemistry lab में आपने जरूर litmus paper use किया होगा. It can be created by using the Rossella and the Lazellia. Then the biological strain, which is called as the Orcine, it is obtained from the, it's called Orchicia and Androgyna and Orchilacia tortoria. From both these lichens, the Orcine biological strain is obtained. Okay, from the school days or from the junior college days, you must have heard about the biological strain we used to stain the slides, right? So these stains, biological stains, one of them is Orcine. It is extracted from these lichens. Okay, then the Euvarnia and the Ramellina lichens are used to create the soaps and the perfumes. Okay, soaps and perfumes are also created from the lichens. Okay, so all these are the industrial uses of the lichens. All right, now consider the ecological importance. Okay, whatever we have seen in these four slides are the economic importance. Economic importance are always referred to the from the human point of view. Okay, from human point of view, if there is advantage, then we call it as the economic importance. But when some kind of organism is useful for the ecosystem maintenance, okay, that is, it's providing the its service to the ecosystem or providing benefit to the nature, then this type of the advantage is called as the ecological advantage or ecological importance. Okay, now the lichen shows the very important ecological importance is that can help in the process of pedogenesis. Now pedogenesis is the process of the formation of the soil by the lichen on the barren land by secreting the carbonic acid and the oxalic acid. Okay, so we have discussed that the lichens can grow on the rocks. Now rocks पे lichens grow करते हैं, they produce the carbonic acid and the oxalic acid, and when they produce this carbonic acid and oxalic acid on the bare rocks, melt this rock into the fine powder, and this fine powder is nothing but the soil. Okay, so creation of the soil is also attributed to the lichen on the barren rocks. So creation of the soil is called as the pedogenesis, and this pedogenesis it start on the barren rock by these lichens. So lichens plays a very important role in creating the soil on the barren land by secreting the two acids which are called as the carbonic acid and the oxalic acid. As you know, when there is a soil, there will be the many plant like organisms which can grow on these soils. On the barren rock, the plants cannot grow. Okay, so on these barren rocks, the lichens first used to visit there, and they create the soil by using the carbonic acid and the oxalic acid, and after creation of the soil, many other plant species can grow there. Okay, so these lichens plays a very important role in the ecological succession as well by doing the process of pedogenesis, that is the formation of soil. Okay, so this is the ecological importance.